Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Digital Quill podcast with your host, Mars Wilson. I am me, she is she. It's a day today. I hope you're doing swell. I just want to cut to the chase. Feel free to, leave any niceties or pleasantries in the comments. Totally up to you. But, I kind of have, some material here with me today. A fiction book I'm currently reading, and, some Alan Watts works, because who doesn't need a little bit of philosophy in their life? From a once, I believe actually ordained some sort of, I forget what is it in here? Does it tell me who this human was so I can relay it to you in an articulate sort of manner? I didn't even bother to look at that. Of all the things I decided to look at, that was not one of them. Well, perhaps in that case I can... Oh, here we go, about the author. Master's degree in theology and a doctorate of divinity. Interesting. I don't know what his actual history is. I might have to look into that one. But I jotted down some notes, and it's actually kind of interesting because I did something a little different today, and I've kind of done it before behind the scenes. But a few Digital Quill family updates and interesting ideas. As some of you know, I have not really watched many of my episodes, which is kind of weird, I guess. Maybe not. I don't know. Here is my proposal. As kind of like a, connection thing between me and yourself, or yourself and me. I don't know. How about we do a watch together thing? That way we can record our reactions in real time or something like that. Or I don't know, but I figured it would be a lot more tolerable for myself to watch it with a friend or a viewer or a human. And I don't know. It is an offer on the table. There's that one. There's also the idea of, in the future, because you gotta feed the content machine, right? I mean, it's the content machine. But in the future, sometimes I have, before the show, pre-recordings, and today I actually, utilized tools that I have at my usability, and tabletop tripod. Chop pod. Yep. Go to your chop pod today and get chopped. That could have a lot of contexts, and there's only one that I like a lot, and I have visuals. It's very cartoonish in my brain, and it's hilarious. I wish I could project it, but I cannot. I don't have that power yet. Neuralink. Get stronger, get better equipment. No, I don't. I'm not really for or against stuff like that. That is kind of the thing that humans might achieve or try to achieve next, I guess. Some form of weird techno bullshit. You might read about it in sci-fi books. I don't know. I figured I might start reading science fiction just to see what might become science fact, because some of you have it right. Reading is also really good for you. It prepares you for things, and if we're going to start living in a techno-futuristic kind of world, then I should brush up on my techno-futuristic knowledge. Speaking of knowledge and other stuff, the other thing, as I was leading up to it and dropped the ball on many times at this point in this conversation, I've been creating behind the scenes and stuff that I figure I might release a year after the episode or something to that effect, because I'm it's a good way to for me to remember that I did something, because I don't remember everything. I should, but I don't. I never will. That is a working conundrum that I've always kind of had throughout my life in different ways. Like, I do have memory. A lot of it does get transferred into long term, but there are some things that I completely space on that I'm just like, where did that go? Is it in my brain, or did it not, like, happen? Memory is weird, and I still don't understand it yet. I don't even know if science understands it yet. I don't know. It's, again, a lifelong conundrum that I both have been figuring out and also dealing with. I've gotten a lot better at it since I was younger. It used to be really bad. But, memory games. It's one of the reasons why I like memory games a lot. It actually kind of helps keep that brain activity alive. It's nice. So if you have problems with memory, try memory games like tile matching and stuff like that. It's a lot more beneficial than I care to admit. Therapy was a great lesson in my formative years on a lot of how the brain and body worked. So yeah, future episodes of behind the scenes stuff released. Figured that might be an interesting thing. If it isn't, tell me so I can stop doing it. But let's see. Next up is I had my second live stream on whatever it was yesterday, Monday. I was late by an hour and I felt really bad because I try not to be late to things, but sometimes I am. Yesterday was weird. It didn't feel like a Monday. Also, there was a storm coming in, so I was watching that and distracted on a not non-Monday feeling. Not Monday feeling. Yes, that makes sense. We're gonna go with that. So yes, my apologies, and I will also be doing that again, not being late, hopefully, next Monday. Every Monday, Minecraft Mondays, live streamed on Twitch, and hopefully by next Monday, after putting in some work this week, I will be also live streaming to YouTube? Question mark. It'll be neat. Possibly. Who knows? It could crash the system and it might fail horribly. We'll see. Anything could happen at this point. I'm trying new things and the sky's the limit. So, I kind of want to start with It Rides a Pale Horse. And then I want to get back to work on other stuff because I have a meeting tonight with the Unsealed. Let's see, which I guess I should read the thingy out loud at the end of this episode. Yes. Read thingy aloud. I'm just gonna say it out loud because that spells better. And let's see, page 255. Okay. This is It Rides a Pale Horse by Andy Marino. And the reason I am reading it out loud today, or at least page 255, museum interlude, is because it's kind of, it's one of those parts of the books, or a book, that stopped and made me question shit for a moment. It was like, wait a minute. Oh, okay. It wasn't like oh hey, I'm reading a book, la la la, escaping from reality. No, it was, I'm reading a book. Something brought me back to reality. What's the something? Oh, I see. Well, that's nice. So, I'm gonna read the quote. It starts with my grandmother, and my grandmother used to tell me to be kind, and then I'm gonna do a miniature discussion about why that thing, that quote, that moment stood out to me. This is Museum Interlude, page 255 of It Rides a Pale Horse by Andy Marino. My grandmother used to tell me to be kind to everyone, especially when they're being difficult or ornery or downright unkind to you, because you never know what kind of day they're having outside of your brief moment together, or what kind of life. All you can see is that little tip of the iceberg when they happen to be rude to you. The million frustrations and challenges and hardships that fed that moment were invisible. It's a good life lesson for small interactions, of the kind I haven't had in 8 years now, but a shitty lesson for the bigger picture. It's like trying to have sympathy for Hitler because he never got to fulfill his dream of becoming a painter, because incidentally, he sucked. Anyway, me mom wasn't thinking about Hitler. She was thinking about the guy at the dry cleaner, and that people are decent by default and deserve your best effort at kindness. Mima was a good person, and I miss her dearly. But yeah, that is part of a quote from a larger story in this book. And it made me stop and think a minute, because I was like, now hold on a sec. Yes, there are people who cross that line into no longer being human, losing all sense or semblance of humanity. And yeah, we're not really talking about those people, but we are talking about the people that were there before the monster. I guess the past, in a way. Because the past gives us clues. And it's the quote that made me stop and think, because I'm like, oh yeah, have I been kind to people lately? Have I been rude in my interactions? And have I taken things too personally? And like I said in my TikTok from earlier, we're not really born bad. We might have, and this is something that's taken me a lot of learning, a lot of experience with some truly awful people. And I really still can't help but wonder if circumstances were different, if there was more love present, more community present, more of a village humanity working with humanity mindset, would any of that stuff existed? Because I think of the year that Biological Monster was born, and I was thinking about the kind of time period that they might have grown up in, and the parent or parenting they had, and all of it was a recipe for absolute disaster. For them, for the people around them, for their offspring. I will never condone the actions done. That is something that I came to terms with a long time ago, because those are the lines that you choose to cross. But I can understand how some people get to where they go. And I'm hoping that by the end of my life, I figure out how to stop the people from getting to where they're going. Either through lesson plans or actions or something. Because I am tired of meeting other people who have been through terrible shit. I want the terrible shit to stop. I think it could. If we could live in a world where the worst thing was a natural disaster, and we had to rebuild from that. I'd like to see that at least almost possible in my lifetime. Maybe not possible in my lifetime, but, foundational bricks built for that. Or at least the foundation poured. That'd be something. And that brings me to my next quote. Actually, in a weird, kind of funny way. Alan Watts, in The Wisdom of Insecurity. With an introduction by Deepak Chopra. A message for an age of anxiety. Now, it's not really chapters per se. It is contents. And this is section 1, The Age of Anxiety, page, what did I decide to land on, 15? Yeah, that's a good one. Now, mind you, Alan Watts passed away in the 70s. Congestive heart failure, I believe. And there's that game I've been telling you guys about that I want to talk about and play and show off a little bit, because it's kind of like a weird little thinking about life in a good way, sort of. And the foreword for this, the preface. Yeah, the preface, not the introduction. The preface was written in 1951. Preface? I dare you to challenge me on that one. Anyway, 1951. May 1951. My quote starts with, or this quote starts with, by Alan Watts. Human beings appear to be happy just so long as they have a future. Page 15, paragraph 2. Human beings appear to be happy just so long as they have a future to which they can look forward, whether it be a good time tomorrow or an everlasting life beyond the grave. For various reasons, more and more people find it hard to believe in the latter. On the other hand, the former has the disadvantage that when this good time arrives, it is difficult to enjoy it to the full without some promise of more to come. If happiness always depends on something expected in the future, we are chasing a will-o'-the-wisp that ever eludes our grasp until the future and ourselves vanish into the abyss of death. As a matter of fact, our age is no more insecure than any other. Poverty, disease, war, change, and death are nothing new. In the best of times, security has never been more than temporary and apparent. But it has been possible to make the insecurity of human life supportable by belief in unchanging things beyond the reach of calamity, in God and man's immortal soul, and in the government of the universe by eternal laws of right. Today, such convictions are rare, even in religious circles. There is no level of society. There must even be few individuals touched by modern education where there is not some trace of the leaven of doubt. It is simply self-evident that during the past century, the authority of science has taken the place of the authority of religion in the popular imagination, and that skepticism, at least in spiritual things, has become more general than belief. I will leave the rest of the quote for you to read or find yourself. But this actually brings up an interesting little tidbit. So I'm more of a, I guess, in the same way that he self-describes himself as a philosophy entertainer. Interesting. That would be the philosophical entertainer. Yeah, that would be the washing machine in the background. If you could hear that, that was interesting. But philosophical entertainer. In the same way that he describes himself as a philosophical entertainer, I would describe myself as a philosophical seeker, an omni-seeker, as I said in a prior episode. Seeker of all things, seeker of people, of experience, of story, knowledge. Questions within questions, apparently. Created questions within questions. Anyway, with that being said, I also really do have a certain respect and understanding for religion. After all, the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated, treat other people good, is in the Bible. Imagine that. And it's across multiple religions and philosophies and beliefs and theologies and practices. Interesting. So I need someone super religious to help me decode the morals in the Bible, not the fantastical stories that might be up for debate. None of us were there. Who knows? You may have your faith in that. I have my faith in people and things that I can tangibly see, touch, and question. For now. Quantum computing and other things might change some of that. Who knows? We'll see when we get there. But until then, I'd like to have the conversations. So if you would like to, let's do so. Let's do the religious and philosophy thing. But under the guise that this is not, or not under the guise, under the rules, or not really rules, but under the idea that this is not for either of us to be attacking the other's opinion or judging the other. Simply knowledge for the sake of knowledge on both of our parts. How much you want to learn is up to you. But I am here to learn a lot. Teach me as much as you want. And with that being said, we are heading to the digital quill, the unsealed portion of the digital quill, because that is definitely neat. Let's see. Pretty sure this is the one. Write a letter to the you that didn't think you were enough. Let's see. Email. We look forward to seeing you till the night. Yep, there it is. Okay. And go back to this. Do this. There we go. Oh, hey, look. So tonight, as I said earlier in the episode, to kind of wrap this up, from quoting books to quoting self. Geez. I actually had the funny idea that today would probably be like a rehashing of my time on the Unsealed, because I have a book and I have a lot of entries at this point. To kind of, I guess, I don't know, have a whole solid one pinnable episode for this. But, here we are, talking about other stuff instead, which I think went swimmingly in a way that I am quite proud of myself for. Go away. Thank you. Yes? No? Okay. Whatever. Anyway, tonight's Zoom meeting with the Unsealed community is for the people who have made it to the second round of the contest. Write a letter to you that didn't think that they were enough. So this one was kind of harder to write, but I liked it enough, I guess, that I posted it. And I'm going to read it out loud because I'm going to have to read it out loud later. And I don't like reading things out loud all the time to crowds that I know are there. Live streaming will be fun, which, by the way, if you happen to catch this episode, I decided somewhere earlier today that I will live stream the first podcast episode on my birthday. Yep. The first live streamed episode of the Digital Quill podcast will be on my birthday. I'm not going to tell you when that is. It's just going to happen. It's just going to be live. You'll either be there or you won't. But it'll be a birthday party. So that's this month, because it's now September. Again, not going to tell you when that is. You know what? Yeah, I'll give you a hint in a few days. I'll give you another hint. But it's in September. That's your first hint. And that's when the first live will be. It'll be live streamed to YouTube. Because then I can... Oh, man. Technically, I can't live stream to Substack yet. It's still a beta feature, I think. So I'm going to have to live stream to YouTube. Maybe Twitch. It could be Twitch. I could download that file as the podcast and then upload it to Substack. And it'll automatically upload to... Okay. Yep, that's the path. That is the correct path for the first one. Until I think of something different. Or learn something different. Do me, you're doing... do me. Dear me, you're doing swell. Dear Mars, the me from not that long ago. You who felt you weren't enough. That's a tough lie to unravel. A hurt that threatened to bury you, put you in the gravel. But listen, you are enough. Always enough, never not enough. You're 27 now, and that's kind of wow. Life changed so much, yet you carried you through. No matter the chances, those second glances. You're a thriver, not just a survivor, shining even when incomplete. You love Mars, even in the hard, the incomplete. That's a strength that's tough to beat. 25 years, and what were the chances? You kept going, always enough, never not enough. So please don't give up, keep going. I know it's hard, but you are enough. You always were, even when you couldn't see it. You're doing swell. Yeah, it has my voice in it, but it doesn't have that same rhythm that I'm used to doing. I didn't know how to put this into words to myself in a way that I hadn't already done so. Because not enough wasn't the same as dear too much. That was a little different. Which, by the way, dear too much. Excuse you. Excuse? That's fine, I suppose. You can be under maintenance. That's neat. Well, this is only a half an hour episode, but that's life. Sorry about it. And honestly, I'm tired and didn't really feel like recording today in the first place. And, I wonder if I gave off the number in the first part of the episode. If I did, it was probably wrong, or I didn't, and I'm overthinking it. All the technology wishes to start at the same time. goodbye. Going to listen to music now. Overstimulation Central. I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you for letting me give you my time. Thank you for sharing your time with me. As always, do the internet things or don't do the internet things. That's entirely up to you. Be safe, drink water. Those are non-negotiable. And I hope you guys have a great day. Keep going, humans of Earth. That is also a non-negotiable. Bye. Be safe.